Okay, on to the factoring section. A lot of people don't like factoring. So I'm going to start with 23 here, okay? This one here. Because this is the basics of what we always do in factoring. Can you factor out a greatest common factor? In other words, what will they divide by? All right? So, suppose I was to do this. You've got to look at that and think, well, what will both of those things divide by? What will a 10 and a 40 divide by? Yes, it'll divide by 2. Yes, they'll divide by 5, but better still, they'll divide by 10. It's the greatest common factor you're looking for. Both of these will divide by 10. And then honestly, the exponents kind of tends to be the easiest one, because you just pick the smallest one. By that I mean the M5, okay? Because both of those things will divide by the M5. An M5 will divide by an M5, and an M8 will divide by an M5. An M5 won't divide by an M8. The M8's too big, okay? So, here we go. Here's how you write the answer. So, whatever you can divide by, you write in front. So the 10 and 5 goes there. Okay? What's left when I do the division? Right, 10 divided by 10. Well, you can write a 1 if you want to. Okay? M8 over M5. Okay, remember I'm doing this bit first. A bit like one of those earlier questions where I was just dividing by a monomial. M8 over M5, subtract exponents, that is M3. Okay? There's a plus sign. Right, what's 40 divided by 10? That's 4. Now remember, M5 over M5, these two, okay, remember? Cancelled. M5, anything divided by itself is 1, but you can think of this as cancelled. That's the answer, okay? Be like doing that division one you did earlier. Okay, so that's the first basic factoring. Factor out a greatest common factor. You'll see it like as a GCF. The next ones. It's going to be 22, but I'll write anything down. Watch this. X squared plus 5x plus 6. Again, it's recognizing what this question is and how to do it. This will turn into 2 parentheses. It's like doing a reverse of a FOIL. Now, remember this. To get an x squared, you'll always have x and x. Okay? Now, to get a 6 at the end, think about it. A 3 and a 2. And actually, when you add the 3 and the 2, you'll get the 5 in the middle, because there's the rules. When you see this, it's what's 2 numbers that multiply make 6, that when you add, make the 5. Well, that's 3 and 2. Everything's positive. That's it. You have just factored x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay? So those are the factoring trinomials. Now actually, I should have said at the start, do remember to look at them first and see if you can factor something out like you did in question 23. Alright? So let's have a quick look at 22. It's just another one that's the same. So 22. So again, first of all, I should look at it and go, right, can I divide these by anything? And yet, well, there's no x's in the 30, so I can't pull an x out. Please don't do that. I can't pull any x's out of this. Alright? There's no x in that 30. Some students think they can. I can't pull any numbers out. No dividing by numbers. There's an x squared and the x don't have numbers. So it is factor a trinomial. It's you doing this. 2 parentheses. Okay. Again, an x squared can only be an x and an x. Now here we go. Right, what's 2 numbers that multiply make negative 30? I'll put a little 1 here. That when you add, make negative 1. Alright? So 2 numbers that multiply make negative 30, that when you add, make negative 1. Now you can think of things like, okay, 30, 3 and 10, 2 and 15, 1 and 30. But you're not going to get a negative 1 from any of those numbers. It's 5 and 6. So write 5 and 6. Doesn't matter which way around you put it, as long as you get the signs right. Now I want to get to more negatives. I want to get to negative 1 when you add it, so I want the bigger number to be negative. And what I'm trying to get out of this is, if you were to FOIL that, you would get the right answer. Okay, x squared minus 1x minus 30. Okay, so that's the answer. Again, 2 numbers that make negative 30 when you multiply, they make negative 1 when you add. Do have a look at a lot of those, okay? Now I'm going to jump down to 25, okay, because of this. Right, again, what's 2 numbers that make 1 when I multiply, that make negative 1 when I add? Be careful, right, for this one. There aren't any. There aren't any. The only way to get a 1 is a 1 times a 1. And if you try and FOIL, so if I do this, oh, maybe it's 1. If you try to do it, and you went, okay, I know I get an x squared is x times x, and 1 times 1 is 1. But if I do this, okay, that'll give me minus 2x, not minus 1x, and it's prime. This is prime. You can get quite a few situations where you get primes, but remember, we're not trying to trip you up. And if it's on the test, just try and remember one of these is prime. But look, I'll do another one. X squared plus 4x plus 8. Okay, and you think, ooh, x, that's to get x squared. But there are no two numbers that make 8 when you multiply, that make 4 when you add. 8 is 8 and 1. Well, that'll give you 9 when you add. Or it's 4 and 2. That'll give you 6 when you add. That's prime. Okay? So remember those.